put people in office, they give a great speech, right? And what we see coming out is poverty maintenance. If we spend half of what we spend on poverty maintenance on investing in our economic empowerment, it would be a different day in this country. So we have to hold our local politicians accountable. When we have these conversations, forget about the chicken in every pot speech. If they're not talking to you about money and giving you access to capital, venture capital, loans for your businesses, investments, if they're not having that conversation, we got to remix the conversation. No more of the, I'm going to give a good speech, make you feel good, you elect me, nothing changes. We all have a role in this, right?
How many people in here own or want to start a business? Raise your hand. All right.
Okay.
How many, keep your hand up. Everybody keep your hand up. How many of you all have enough money to start and fund your business? Keep your hand up if you have enough money to do it. Put your hand down if you don't. All right, so look at the room now. Most of the hands went down. If this were a different room, everybody's hand would be up because they'd have enough money to run their business. So what we need to do is we need to, by the way, the money for the pension funds is allocated by state treasurers, city treasurers, controllers, mayors, and governors. You need to tell them that we expect fair access to capital so we can grow our business, because we don't really need other people to be philanthropic to our community. We, with a fair system, will take care of ourselves. Right? We just need the game to be played fairly. And I say this, I said this on Earn Your Leisure, that Joe Biden, instead of sitting in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, right now, if it wasn't for us, would be on the waterfront in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, staring out into the ocean as a former vice president. But yet this man will spend hundreds of billions of dollars to go and help Ukraine. But the federal government employee pension system has 170 different asset managers. Only one black. And you know who put them in place? Trump. Now, it's time for us to tell these politicians, if you want our vote, you gotta give us something. It's time to pay us for our support.
So let's keep it on politics.
Development organization, a family-owned company. And I get in the elevator, and they leased out the entire building to a Fortune 500 bank, one of the biggest banks in America. But they retain the top floor for themselves. I get to the top floor, and it's, I think it's probably 70, 80 stories, so you have great views. You get off the elevator, and you can see, and this is Midtown Manhattan, 42nd Street. You can see all the way down to New York Harbor, the Statue of Liberty, looking this way. And you look that way, you see Brooklyn, that way is Jersey, and behind us is Connecticut. It's all glass. It's an amazing looking building. So I go walk into the conference room, and I'm sitting there waiting for the family to come in while we can talk business. And I see this picture on the wall in the conference room. It's this little old immigrant-looking man with a black coat on, holding a suitcase, and he has his little small wife sitting next to him. And I'm looking at him like, wow, this looks like a throwback picture. Had to be 100 years old. The family comes in and they say, oh, I see you looking at the picture. They tell me, this is our great-grandfather who bought this land in 1914. And if you know what 42nd Street was in 1914, it was the hood. It was a black neighborhood. But we couldn't have access to capital. We couldn't have access to the resources that we needed to buy land in our own community. But this immigrant family came, bought it. Almost over 100 years later, they are able to monetize it as a family, right? Because they have the ability to hold that asset generationally, and the value of that land, believe me, has skyrocketed from when it was first purchased. But it shows you the obstacles that were involved and the barriers to entry in getting into the good old boys club. That land is going to trade amongst private equity firms, trading for hundreds of millions of dollars, but they kept it themselves. They developed it, built $1 billion tower, and are continue to monetize it. But that's how real estate development works in New York City. It's generational, family-owned businesses. We have not been at the table. We are at a 400-year deficit that we need to catch up on. That's why government involvement and support of our economic aspirations and providing fair access to capital and fair access to economic opportunity is so important.
I had colleagues, friends, and people within his community, and they work together. So one of the reasons I don't like the first black building or the largest black developer is it says that my competition is among us, and we're all in this together. So we gotta act like we're in this together. And we gotta root for each other's success. We gotta celebrate each other's success. And we gotta help other people be successful as well. And if we work together, there's nothing that we cannot accomplish. Working together got us the right to be in this building because Dr. King didn't do it by himself. We did it together. The fight now is economic empowerment, and we must work together to do it and change things. And we can change things if we do it together, and we got to start by working together, rooting for each other, supporting each other, investing in each other, and backing each other. The second thing we got to do is we got to tell all these politicians, you cannot count on us unless you do something for us. Because Henry Kissinger said America has no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interests. But black people, we have no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent